Willkommen, deutsche Kameraden. Guten Morgen. Today I want to talk about Heinrich Himmler and his involvement in the occult. Or as we say it here, Heinrich Himmler. Anyway, a lot of people think it's some sort of conspiracy or some sort of speculation that there was occult practices or mysticism involved in the Third Reich. It doesn't even need to be in my opinion, just as any even beginner occultist, you'll realize the symbols of power and all the occult stuff that actually went into the rise of the Third Reich, and in my belief also the fall of the Third Reich. Now, a lot of these neo-Nazis and skinheads, whatever, they don't acknowledge the occult aspect. They think it's just a basic movement. There was more involved than meets the eye. Now, relatively recently, they discovered Heinrich Himmler's library of around 10,000 occult books. Everything ranging from witchcraft to Norse magic to pagan mysticism. There was everything in there, okay? Now, Heinrich Himmler was mainly interested in Norse or Germanic magic, basically, and he even did some research into his ancestry, and he discovered that one of his, ancient relatives was actually a witch that was burned at the stake. And the whole movement of the Third Reich, it disassociated itself with Christianity. It saw Christianity as sort of a false thing for the Germanic people to believe in, because they should acknowledge their roots, where they came from, and the things they practiced beforehand, And even, I think, Goebbels spoke on this topic. There's an interview of him expressing, is it pagan? Something like that. Is the Third Reich pagan? And he says, what is pagan and all this stuff? But, he worded it in such a way not to scare people off, but it was definitely pagan. Like there was, fires and rituals and initiations, and there was so many pagan things, people. Just look at the swastika itself. A lot of people will argue that it was stolen from Hindus or Buddhists or whatever. That's not true. If you do some real research, you'll find out that the oldest swastika ever found was found on European soil in either Czechoslovakia or Yugoslavia, something like that. But it was found on European soil, which means that it is a European symbol. Well, a lot of different other civilizations and a lot of other different people did use the swastika, yes, but to say it was stolen is false. Now, going beyond the swastika, if you look into the SS itself, to me that was the most occult force in the whole Third Reich, And that was Heinrich Himmler's personal sort of adventure, basically. You can see the SS, they had basically the Schutzstaffel, they had SS, right? But that's not really SS, those are Norse runes, Siegel, representing willpower, strength, and victory. And even the Hitlerjugend, they had one Siegel on their flags and all that stuff, but the SS had two sigils on their collar most of the time. And if you look deeper into the SS, they had daggers, and they had swords, and even the words they use, Blut und Boden. Blut und Boden, okay? Blood and soil. Now a lot of these neo-Nazis, they get this tattooed on them and say, yeah, blood and soil, blood and soil. And it is sort of a thing used by the alt-right as well. But they don't look deeper into it. They think blood and soil. So okay, the soil and the blood of our people. But if you look at it from an occultist perspective, okay, blood and soil. Blood, the fueling basically force of all existence, and if you're an occultist, you know that blood has immense power, okay? And soil represents earth, the power of earth. So it's the power of earth and the power of blood basically combined. You see, you got to look at it from that perspective as well. And the other thing carved onto the daggers of the SS was, what was it? It was Meine heißt True. So, my honor is called loyalty. Basic rough translation of that. So, if you look even deeper into that, you can see that Heinrich Himmler had his whole like occult like setup. He had this like fort or this castle, and he had a round table, and he had the black sun. A lot of people, you know, they SS Schutzstaffel, yes, but think about it this way: black sun, Schwarz Sonne, Schwarz Sonne, black sun. Okay. Now, why the fuck would he have the black sun? You know, such a strong pagan symbol, like basically tiled into the floor of his main place of practice, basically, you know. And if you look even deeper beyond that, the SS, each SS man had a ring, okay, and it was engraved with various runes and skulls and stuff like that. Now, to be part of the SS, there's not really much research done into it, but I believe that it was a very ritualistic practice. It wasn't that you were just accepted into the SS, you were given a dagger, you were given a ring, and that's it. It was very ritualistic. You were initiated into the SS. You gave your blood and your entire being basically to the SS. That's why he gave you a ring, okay? And the ring is like a bonding, it's like a contract. So if an SS man falls on the battlefield, they are all basically linked by those rings. In my belief, those rings were enchanted. And they said that later on they found a giant chest of a whole bunch of SS rings that were basically taken off dead SS men's bodies, and they were placed back in the fort. So it's like you were initiated, and you were put into that from an occult perspective. And it's like, where you came from, you shall return. It was like a contract. It was an occult contract. You give yourself fully, body, soul, everything. You know, so it's just so many occult and pagan things that you could see everywhere in the Third Reich, especially Heinrich Himmler's SS side, that it's stupid not to acknowledge that. There were occult rituals that were going on. The SS were initiated through occult means. There was magic involved, okay? And that's what made them such a powerful fighting force, because they were fueled and infused by something beyond this realm, basically, you know? They could have used, Heinrich Himmler could have used any other symbols in the world, but he chose Norse runes. He chose Norse runes and a whole bunch of other things stemming from Germanic magic, basically. So, it is what it is, people. Look into it. I believe that the rise of the Third Reich, I believe that Hitler was also into the cult. Because if you look at what they found in the Nazi headquarters on all that stuff, they found art and artifacts and chalices and spears and portraits and everything from all the different countries they conquered. So that they were taking like holy, basically, artifacts, holy grails, what have you, from other places, and using that in their own occult practices to further their occult power and their strength entirely. Now here is the downfall as well. I believe somewhere along the line, somebody fucked something up, okay? They did a ritual that fucked everything up, or they got too power hungry. They got too power hungry, and the occult sort of forces sort of overpowered them. And I believe that it caused the downfall of the Third Reich and also the SS. So I believe that it rise from the occult and it fell from the occult. Now, if there weren't certain mistakes done, I believe that they would have continued and conquered and so forth and so on. So, Himmler was also a cigar smoker. So you can find pictures of him chewing on cigars and stuff. So just a random note thrown in there. But yeah, and a lot of people could say that's evil, that's horrible, that's whatever. Evil and all that stuff is very subjective, okay? What's evil to somebody is good to somebody else. Do I believe that the Third Reich was essentially using evil or bad black magic or whatever to rise in power? Not necessarily. Not necessarily. I believe it was a fusion of the two. Okay, they had to do what they had to do to rise in power. And if you're a power-hungry individual, like most occultists are, you want power. That's the main important thing to you, is power. And second is, all the things that come with power. Either, money, wealth, fame, whatever, But it's mainly a power-hungry pursuit, in my idea. Even occultists that practice white magic, or whatever you want to call it, what are they seeking? They're seeking power to heal, power to, quench all the bad things and the supposed evil things in this world. So it still comes from power. They're power hungry, but they're power hungry to heal and save instead of conquer and destroy. So there you go. That's my little analysis of it. If you're interested, look into it. My interest in it came basically from my research and involvement in Norse pagan things. You start learning a lot about runes, and then you see things. You're like, hey, why did the SS use these runes and all these things? You start seeing all these things. So to me, it's like understanding the power of runes and how they could be applied to basically any practice you see. You want to conquer the world. If you have an understanding of the runes and you apply them in a certain way, and you don't make the same mistakes as Himmler did, then, who knows? Who knows? But I'm not here, looking to conquer the world or anything. I'm just trying to get a better understanding of the runes. And if they had enough power to make the Third Reich rise, then some people could say that's an evil thing. But if they can make such a movement rise in power, then imagine what that could do on an individual level, If you keep that knowledge to yourself and you harness that power for yourself, especially in modern times where everybody's like atheists and, oh no, all this shit is bullshit, it's fairy tales, fairy tales. Okay, so that's the power rests in the individual at that point. You study the runes and you understand the runes and you get into Norse magic and mysticism and all that stuff, and you will see how powerful